These are all the hallmarks of Kali Yuga brain. So laziness is one aspect. So unless we are goaded by the temple commander and we have a system for tracking the sadhana and all that, we'll sleep. That's our nature. So in that sense, we are not to be blamed. It is our Kali Yuga brain that has to be blamed. But the fact is, in Kali Yuga, it is like that. That's why Shastras also say that in Kali Yuga, sannyasa is forbidden, along with the other activities, sannyasam, palapaitrikam, so kalau pancha vivardhyayat. All the 5 items are forbidden in Kali Yuga. So why is sannyasa forbidden? Because sannyasa means you renounce everything and all alone you practice spiritual life. You go to the forest, then you go from village to village. The idea of sannyasa is that you go from one place to another through the forest to the dense jungles all alone, so that you give up your fear and learn to depend on Krishna. If you are too much afraid of jungle animals like lions, bears, tigers and all that, you will not be able to take up sannyas. Sannyas means forcibly, even though you are afraid, you go into the forest so that out of, you don't have a choice, you have to depend only on Krishna. What else is there in the forest? Some lion is coming, some wild elephant is coming, what you can do? Only thing is you have to depend on Krishna. So, to enhance the dependence on the Supreme Lord and to know that you are not alone, you are always, the Supreme Lord is there with you in the heart, that kind of sannyasa was practiced. But in Kali Yuga, if we are asked to do that, that's all. Out of fear, we will have a heart attack and we'll die. When we see a lion in the forest, nothing else will happen. So, dependence on Krishna will not come. So, therefore, in Kali Yuga it is said sannyasa is forbidden, because we cannot maintain that sannyasa also. Even if we go to the forest, then, we will not be able to maintain our sannyasa. Next village we'll go, we'll find some companion and again, renounce renunciation. Sannyas, take sannyas of sannyas, go back to Grihamaiti life. So all these things will happen in Kali Yuga. And we can see that happening also. In the Vedic times, any sannyasi who gives up sannyas is called the Vantasi, correct, Vantasi, meaning a person who eats his own vomit. It is considered so abominable. But in Kali Yuga, it has become very common. So many sannyasis, they take sannyas and later they give up that sannyas and get involved with some woman, and then they decide I cannot follow sannyas. So that kind of practice of spirituality in isolation was possible in the previous ages. It's not practical current day world. So therefore, anyway in Shastras it is forbidden. So then, therefore, the Acharyas have devised the means of establishing organizational framework where people can come and practice spirituality in the association of others, so that we are able to overcome laziness, we are able to overcome the weakness of the heart, and that desire for companionship. All these things can be overcome in an association of like-minded devotees. And that is how Acharyas like Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they all came up with the idea of an organization, society where people can stay together and have all modern amenities and together practice spirituality. So, that's the nature in Kali Yuga, that a person, it's very difficult for the mind to practice spirituality all alone. So, association is always important. So, of course, in Krishna consciousness, what happens is, as long as we are chanting Hare Krishna and we are our mind is focused on devotional service, and we follow the principle of avyartha kalatvam, not even a moment we waste in anything other than service of Krishna, either chanting Hare Krishna or reading Prabhupada's books or talking to somebody about Krishna, in some way or the other keep ourselves engaged in Krishna service, then that fear does not come up. So, as far as the practical problem is concerned, if one is able to manage, when we go out for preaching, we are able to manage and maintain our mental equilibrium even though we are alone, then fine. If you are not able to do that, better is to tie with some other devotee and go together. So, we have a concept of co-preachers also. Two devotees go together and both of them fix appointment in consultation with each other so that there is no clash. and both of them go together, engage the whole day. So morning you fix up one appointment, afternoon with somebody else, the other devotee fixes, evening again you fix up with somebody else, like that we can. So there are practical ways to address this. So no point in trying to fight with the mind if we are finding it, it's not conducive. Better is to, like they say in psychiatry or in management, people, when they are faced with circumstances where they find it difficult to achieve something or something like that, they become very frustrated. So to avoid frustration, they say we have to follow the principle of 3 A's. What is the principle of 3 A's? Alter, adapt, accept. Meaning, some situation is unfavorable, you try to alter that. Means change the system, change the situation itself. So, if you are not able to do that, then what you do is like for example, you are sitting in an air-conditioned room and you are feeling very cold, temperature is 22 degrees centigrade. So you alter the situation. This is too uncomfortable, I'll fall sick. Go take the remote and increase the temperature to 25 degrees. Situation has changed now. Now you are comfortable, you continue doing whatever activity you are doing. Second kind of situation, now what happens is, suppose the outside atmosphere itself falls to, the external temperature itself falls to 5 degrees centigrade, like it happens in North India. Now you cannot go and alter the sun's distance and bring the sun closer and increase the temperature, no? So what you can do, so the second principle comes into play. When you cannot alter your circumstances, you adapt. How do you adapt? Wear warm clothing, put a heater in the room, keep yourself in enclosed spaces. So like that you can adapt to the situation. Drink hot water. Outside people drink coffee and tea. We cannot do that. So drink hot water. That will keep you warm. So all these kind of things we can do. So adapt. Now suppose you are in a situation where warm cloth is not there. You are not getting hot water also and you are exposed to 5 degrees centigrade. What can you do? Accept your situation. Chant Hare Krishna. That's all. So alter, adapt, accept. So you analyze your situation, what you can do in that circumstance, and accordingly you do it. So that way what happens is, you can avoid frustration. So if I'm going out and I'm preaching to people and I'm finding that it's very difficult for me to maintain my consciousness while doing that, so now you cannot alter your consciousness, no. Adapt. So how can you adapt? Go with somebody else. Make a team, combine with somebody else and teamwork. So good. So that way you can adapt. So, you have to understand the circumstances and accordingly you have to manage the situation. It's as simple as. So it's more of a practical thing. Okay. Any other?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Astrology bolte hain na, bhavishwani. So for Prabhupada's life also it was predicted that he will open 108 temples.
Yes.
And it was done like it was done. So in our life also like they make na Janam Patrika. So in that whatever is mentioned, so like it's astrology. So shall we believe it or not believe, or if some things have happened truly, so like how to come out of that consciousness and suppose something wrong is written and is it predestined? Is our astrology like it is all predestined, it will certain to happen only, or we can change it, or if...
You see, actually astrology is a science, Jyotir Veda. Now any Vedic knowledge, there are many branches of knowledge in the Vedas. Jyotir Veda is one, Dhanur Veda is one, Ayurveda is one. Like that, many branches of knowledge are there in the Vedas. It's not only just spiritual knowledge alone, it is also knowledge about material aspects also, material world also there is a lot of knowledge. Because we are living in this material world with a material body, so we have to deal with the material world also. So therefore, the Vedas give the knowledge how to deal with the material world also. Now the point is, all these different categories of knowledge which are given in the Vedas, they are not like material knowledge which we learn in the schools, colleges of today. In the schools and colleges of today, if anybody can go to any college, pick up any book and attend the classes and he can learn. That's how, everybody goes through the same education system. The curriculum is the same for everyone. Why? Because that knowledge that is there can be acquired by anyone who wants to acquire it. You want to learn 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Anybody can learn. You want to learn a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Anybody can learn. Right? You don't need any qualification for that. Some primary qualification is needed. You need to know A, B, C, D and all that. 1 plus 1 is 2. Some, whatever basic knowledge is there that if you have, you can learn. Anybody can learn. Without consideration of whether you are man, woman, you are Indian, you are Pakistani, anybody can learn. That is the way it is. Now, the Vedic knowledge is not like that. It is not something which anybody and everybody without discrimination can learn. For understanding Vedic knowledge, a pre-qualification, there are some prerequisites which one needs to fulfill. So what are the prerequisites that you need to fulfill? The qualifications are not in terms of one's intellectual ability or in terms of some basic knowledge like we discussed. The Vedic knowledge, the prerequisite needed to be able to comprehend that Vedic knowledge and to be able to put it to use. See, knowledge is there and using that knowledge is there. There are two things. There is theoretical knowledge, then applying the theory in practice. There are two things. Now, Vedic knowledge, even though, first of all, even theoretically to understand some qualification is needed, and even if without that qualification I learn that knowledge also, I will not be able to put it to use. What is the qualification? You need to have the qualities of a Brahmana. Qualities of a Brahmana means Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Arjavam, Ayastikyam. You have to be in full control of your senses. Your mind should be completely self-restrained. You should have complete faith in the Supreme Lord, Narayana, Krishna, Vishnu. You should, you should have humility as a natural character. So there are so many traits like this which need to be fulfilled. So the person's character is of importance. The person's character is the qualifying factor which decides whether he is eligible for Vedic knowledge or not. In modern day, we don't look at the character of the person. The person may be a smoker, he may be a drunkard, he may be a womanizer, whatever he is, doesn't matter. He can get the knowledge. Most of the, many of the scientists and the greatest thinkers in modern science, if you see, they will all be drinking, they will be smoking, they will be womanizers. That's their personal life. We look at what contribution they have given to the field of scientific knowledge. Why? Because science, the nature of science is irrespective of what your personal character is, that knowledge anybody can use or misuse. Whereas Vedic knowledge is such that the character of the person decides whether you can comprehend the knowledge properly or not. And if your character is not proper and you take up that knowledge, you will misunderstand everything. Just like there was a German guy, Max Muller or somebody. He took the Bhagavad Gita and translated it into English or something like that. I think he was the first person to translate, something like that is there, to translate the Bhagavad Gita in English. So he was a smoker. He would have a nice fag and then sit down and start translating the Bhagavad Gita because he knew Sanskrit. So he thought just by Sanskrit Panditya, I can translate Bhagavad Gita. What is the big deal? It's a language after all. So after translating the entire Bhagavad Gita, his conclusion was Bhagavad Gita is a great book, but full of contradictions. Poor guy, basically what he was saying, I couldn't understand what I was translating. That's the reality. Now that you cannot tell it like that, no. So he said it, put it in a refined way. It's full of contradictions. So, but a person with a proper character who studies the same Bhagavad Gita under a proper guru, he will not find any contradiction. He will find how everything is pointing towards the central, the theme of the Bhagavad Gita, which is to establish the supremacy of Krishna and our position as his servant and his devotee. So, this is the nature of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge, if one has to comprehend and understand it properly, he has to have certain basic qualities. That means his character has to match that of the topmost renunciant. If a person is engaged in earning money and he is engaged in womanizing and all that, he will not be able to understand Dhanurvidya, Ayurveda, and all these different Jyotirveda and all these other branches of Vedic knowledge. Even if one forcibly tries to study them, he will not be able to put them to proper use. So when an unqualified person starts practicing Ayurveda, his medicines will not be effective. When an unqualified person learns Jyotirveda, he thinks it's like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. I will study all the position of the planets and I will tell what is the thing. It doesn't work that way. So what will happen is the predictions of that person will all go left, right and center, somewhere else and all it will go. So today what they say is, Jyotirveda, you see, what happens is many people they teach Jyotish Shastra and all of them learn and they try to practice and many times they see their prediction is going all off. So they have found a new explanation for that. So because their understanding, people's understanding is knowledge means everybody can acquire. What does character have to do? Your personal life is different, this is different. So they have found a new explanation for that. They say Jyotish Shastra, the knowledge of the planetary systems and predicting the future is a probabilistic knowledge. It is not a deterministic knowledge. That means you can tell with probability this may happen. It may happen, it may not happen. You cannot say with surety that it will happen. Whereas if you look at how Gargacharya and others, they look at the astrological chart of Krishna and he said very positively, confidently, this child is equal to Narayana. He has taken so many births. Everything he is telling with so much confidence. He is not saying maybe this child may be equal to Narayana. He may be able to kill demons like Putana. Nothing like that. He is very clearly telling the future. So, if one is of very high noble character, then that knowledge will be effective. So, because today's people who are practicing all this, Ayurveda, Jyotirveda and all these things, their personal character they don't pay attention to and they practice all this knowledge for the sake of acquiring money. They make it a vritti. They make it an occupation, not a service. Then what happens is they become deprived of the benefits of that knowledge. That is how it is. So therefore, what happens is, when these kind of today's people, when they give astrological predictions and all that, it is all 50-50. It may happen, it may not happen. So that is one aspect of it. One aspect of the predictions given by modern day astrologers. Another aspect we have to consider is when a person starts chanting Hare Krishna mantra and he gets initiated by the spiritual master, there is a very big thing that happens there. So the future of a person is predicted by the astrological signs on the basis of his prarabdha karma. When a person takes birth, he takes birth under a certain constellation and that determines various things. So it's not that the position of the stars determines your future. It's not like that. The karmas that you have done in the past, your prarabdha karma makes you take birth under the influence of a certain set of constellations so that your karma can act according to that and your future is determined. This is the way it acts. So it's all predetermined. It's not that the planets influence you. Your prarabdha karma gives you a birth under a set of constellations which give you a certain kind of life. That's the reality. So when a devotee surrenders to the spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, when a devotee surrenders to Srila Prabhupada and takes initiation from him, the moment he takes initiation, Prabhupada burns away, takes away all his prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma, everything is taken away. Everything is burnt. So, your past karma stops acting in your life. If your past karma stops acting in your life, whatever predictions you do, it will all go wrong. If there is a really good astrologer, proper astrologer, if you go and tell him, I'm fully practicing spiritual life, I'm surrendered to Krishna and all that, then he will say, then what I can predict? I cannot predict anything. You are chanting the Lord's name. You are chanting Krishna's name. I cannot predict anything. Straight away he will tell you. This is the reality. So, because the Lord has taken charge of your life, Now your karma is not acting on you. Now the Lord Krishna, according to his desire, he will spin the wheel of your, the steering wheel of your life. And which way your life is going to turn, nobody can tell except Krishna. So therefore, a devotee does not bother about going and approaching astrologers and asking them and all that, because in his personal life, basically because it will largely be ineffective. He will also not be able to tell. He will tell based on your prarabdha karma, which is already burnt. So whatever he tells, 99% will not take effect. So there is no point in going to, for our personal things, going to all this. First of all, getting the right astrologer is a question mark. Second, even if you get somebody like that, because you are practicing devotional life, it'll be difficult or practically next to impossible to predict your future. That's the reality. So therefore, why get into all that? The third thing we have to understand is a devotee. What is the meaning of a devotee who is surrendering his life to Srila Prabhupada? He surrendered everything to the Guru and to Krishna. When we are living in the ashram, what is the meaning? That means we have surrendered everything to Krishna and to Prabhupada. We have surrendered ourselves, our future, our past, our present, everything to Krishna and to Prabhupada. So whatever has to happen, Guru will take care. Therefore, a devotee is not bothered about what is going to be his future. Why should we bother? Not required. So we have to cultivate surrender. We have to cultivate the Sharanagati principles, which is our total dependence on Krishna for everything, for our past, present and future. We don't depend on some predictions and try to adjust our future according to that. That means we are not depending on Krishna and Prabhupada. We are depending on ourselves, my own intelligence and effort and knowledge I will use, and I will manage my life. Then why you have to surrender to Krishna? Krishna also will not take charge of your life. Okay, you are still having independent plans. Okay, you plan, you make your plan. When you are finished with all your plans, then you come to me. Then I will take charge. So a devotee, therefore, because he is fully surrendered to Krishna and to the Guru, to Prabhupada, that is, the devotee does not seek any such intervention in his life. Whatever it is, even in the greatest calamity in his life, the devotee depends upon Krishna. So if you look at the Pandavas, they underwent so many difficulties. They had to go in the forest for 13 years exile, then 1 year incognito, and all these kind of things. No point of time they thought, so much difficulty, let us go to an astrologer and find out some solution. No, although there were great rishis in their midst. Dhaumya was their family priest who was always with them. He could very well have calculated the charts and told the future. They never asked, never bothered to ask. So that's why Narada Muni also, when the Pandavas, when they lost the game of dice and they went to the forest, Narada Muni went to Krishna and said, "Oh Krishna, you take wonderful care of your devotees. Your Pandavas are so surrendered to you, and you also have rewarded them so nicely." So Krishna asked, what did I reward? That's what they lost the game of dice. Draupadi got insulted in the assembly, and now they are in forest exile. All reward because of devotion to you. And Narada was he was teasing Krishna. Then he said, but I don't know what magic you have done. I don't know what hypnotism you have done. Even after all this, the Pandavas, not even once have they asked, why is this happening to us, even though we are devotees of Krishna? I don't know what you have done to them. You have totally hypnotized them. They are still, blissful in your devotion. They are constantly chanting your names, and they are fully, hypnotized by you. So that's the nature of a devotee. Even in the midst of the greatest calamity, he doesn't think about his future, what is going to happen to me, why this is happening to me. That question never occurs in a devotee's mind. That is why Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate." Even in the greatest danger, vichalyate, the mind is not bewildered. One is fixed in Krishna and Prabhupada. Okay, whatever it is, Prabhupada and Krishna will protect me. Of course, we may use our intelligence to try to overcome the situation. But, ultimately, all our efforts, we also know. Whether our efforts will fructify or not is not in our hand. So there another principle is there, karmanyevadhikarasya ma phalashya kadachana. We have our duty. If I fall sick, I'll go to the doctor, I'll take medicine. When I'm taking medicine, I'll remember Krishna. Krishna, if you want, let this medicine act. If Krishna does not want, you keep taking the medicine 4 days, 5 days also, still you will be sick. Okay? Krishna wants me to be sick. Some reason. So we accept. So, so a devotee is not so much bothered about going and approaching an astrologer and taking their advice and all that. It's not required also, because Krishna is far greater than any astrologer. He knows what has to be done with us and how to take care of us. Is that okay? Anything else? சொல்லுங்க பரவாயில்ல.
பாண்டவாஸ் வந்து
சாரி
ஆல் பாண்டவாஸ் பாண்டவர்கள் எல்லாமே கிருஷ்ணாவோட டிவோட்டீஸ். ஆனால் அவங்க ஏன் சொர்க்கத்துக்கு போனாங்க பிரபு? ஆனால் சொர்க்கத்துக்கு போனாங்களே,
சொர்க்கத்துக்கு போனாங்க.
ஏன் போனாங்க?
ஏன் சொர்க்கத்துக்கு போனாங்க? ஆக்சுவலி பிரபுபாத சொல்கிறாரு, இந்த பாண்டவாஸ் எல்லாம் கிருஷ்ணாவோட நித்திய பக்தாஸ். அவர் இந்த பாண்டவர்கள் நம்மளை மாதிரி கிடையாது. பாண்டவர்கள் எப்போதுமே கிருஷ்ணரோட பியூர் டிவோட்டீஸ். பியூர் டிவோட்டீஸ்னால் அவங்க எப்போதுமே கிருஷ்ணரை ஸ்மரணம் செஞ்சுட்டு அவர் எப்போதும் கிருஷ்ண பிரேமத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்க. அவங்க நம்மளை மாதிரி நாம் வந்து எங்களுக்கு இப்போது நம்ம லைஃப்பில் என்ன ஆகும்னா, நாம் இந்த லைஃப் நம்மளது முடிஞ்சிடுச்சுன்னா அடுத்த லைஃபுக்கு நமக்கு கர்மப்படி நமக்கு அடுத்த லைஃபு அமையும். இந்த பாண்டவர்களோட கேஸில் எப்படின்னா, அவங்க ஜென்மம் எடுக்கிறது எல்லாமே அவங்க வந்து பிறந்தாலும் அவங்க பிறப்பெல்லாமே கிருஷ்ணரோட லீலையில் பங்கெடுக்கிறதுக்காக மட்டும்தான். ஸோ பாண்டவர்கள் என்ன ஆகும்னா, இந்த இப்போ ஒரு 5000 வருஷம் முன்னாடி பாண்டவர்கள் இந்த உலகத்தில் இருந்தாங்க. அவங்க கிருஷ்ணரோட லீலையில் பங்கெடுத்தாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் கிருஷ்ணர் இந்த உலகத்தில் இருக்கிற அவரோட லீலையெல்லாம் அவர் அப்படியே ஹீ கம்ப்ளீட்டட் இஸ் லீலாஸ். அதுக்கப்புறம் அவர் அந்த அவரோட லீலா எல்லாம் அப்பிரகட்டமாயிடுச்சு. இப்போ நம்மளுக்கு கிருஷ்ணரை நேரடியாக பார்க்க முடியாது. ஏன்னா கிருஷ்ணர் இப்போ இந்த உலகத்தில் இல்லை. கிருஷ்ணர் ஆனால் வேறு ஏதோ ஒரு யூனிவர்ஸில், வேறு ஏதோ பிரம்மாண்டத்தில் அவரோட லீலையை மறுபடியும் அவர் டெமான்ஸ்ட்ரேட் பண்ணிகிட்ருப்பார். ஸோ அந்த லீலையில் பங்கெடுக்கிறதுக்காக மறுபடியும் அந்த பாண்டவர்கள் அங்கேயும் போய் அவங்க பிறப்பாங்க. ஸோ இது வந்துட்டு கிருஷ்ணர் இந்த மெட்டீரியல் வேர்ல்டில் எந்த உலகத்தில் பகவான் கிருஷ்ணர் அவரோட லீலைகளை அவர் பிரகட்டமாக அவர் டிஸ்பிளே பண்ணிகிட்ருக்காரோ அந்த உலகத்தில் பாண்டவர்களும் போய் அங்கே அவங்களும் பிறப்பாங்க கிருஷ்ணரோட இந்த லீலையில் பங்கெடுக்கிறதுக்கு. ஸோ இந்த 5000 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி பகவான் கிருஷ்ணர் அவர் ஆஃப்டர் ஹி டிஸப்பியர்ட். ஸோ பாண்டவர்களுக்கும் அவர்களுடைய வேலை முடிஞ்சிச்சு. கிருஷ்ணர் இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் தான் அவர்களுக்கும் இங்கே இருக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு மோட்டிவேஷனு. ஸோ கிருஷ்ணர் அவருடைய லீலைகளை முடித்ததுக்கு உடனே பாண்டவர்கள் என்ன பண்ணினாங்க, அவங்களும் போய் இது தே டுக் சன்யாஸ், தே வென்ட் டு பத்ரிகாசிரமத்தில் போய் தியானம் பண்ணி அவங்கள என்னாச்சு, அடுத்த ஜென்மம் அவங்களுக்கு எடுக்கணும். அடுத்த பிறப்பு அவங்களுக்கு ரெடி ஆகுது. கிருஷ்ணரோட எங்கே அடுத்த லீலை நடக்குதோ அங்கே அவங்களுக்கு போகணும். அது போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன, டிரான்சிட் ஹவுஸ், கொஞ்சம் நேரம் ஸ்வர்க்கத்துக்கு போயிட்டு அங்கேருந்து மறுபடியும் அடுத்த இடத்துக்கு போகிறாங்க. அவ்வளோதான். இப்போ நாங்களும் இங்கேருந்து ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இங்கேருந்து லெட்டஸ்ஸே நம்ம ஸ்ரீரங்கத்துக்கு போனோம். இங்கேருந்து ஒரு 5 மணி நேரம் ஆகும் காரில் போகிறதா இருந்தால். அப்போது இங்கேருந்து அங்கே வரைக்கும் நான் ஸ்டாப் போவோமா? போகும்போது வழியில் எங்கேயாவது கொஞ்சம் நிப்பாட்டிட்டு கொஞ்சம் ஏதாவது கொஞ்சம் ஜூஸ் சாப்பிட்டுட்டு சரிப்பா ஓகே ரிஃப்ரெஷ் ஆகிடுச்சு மறுபடியும் கிளம்பலாம். அதேபடி பாண்டவர்களும் அடுத்த லீலைக்கு போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி கொஞ்சம் நேரம் சொர்க்கத்தில் போய் கொஞ்சம் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிவிட்டு ஓகே அடுத்த இது ஆகிடுச்சா அங்கே போகிறாங்க. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் த வே பாண்டவாஸ் ஆர். ஸோ பாண்டவர்கள் வந்துட்டு அவங்க வந்துட்டு தே ஆர் லிபரேட்டட் சோல்ஸ், முக்தாத்மகள் தான் அவர்களும். ஆனால் பாண்டவர்களுக்கு வந்துட்டு இட்டர்னலி அவங்க இந்த பௌதிக உலகத்தில் கிருஷ்ணரோட லீலைகள் எங்கெங்கே நடக்குதோ அங்கே எல்லாம் பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணிட்டுருப்பாங்க. அவங்க ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்டுக்கு போகிறதில்ல, அவங்க இங்கேயே தான் இருப்பாங்க. ஆனால் இங்கே எப்போதும் கிருஷ்ணர் எங்கே அவரோட லீலை நடக்குதோ அந்த கிருஷ்ணரோட லீலையை பங்கெடுக்கிறதுக்காக அவங்க அந்தந்த இதில் உலகத்தில் அவங்க ப்ரெசென்ட் ஆகிருப்பாங்க. அப்போ என்ன ஆகும், ஸோ கிருஷ்ணரோட கூட இருக்கிறதுனால தட் இஸ் ஆஸ் குட் as ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்டு. ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்டுக்கும் எந்த டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் கிடையாது. ஏன்னா ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்டு எங்கே கிருஷ்ணர் இருக்காரோ அதுதான் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் வேர்ல்டு ஒரு டிவோட்டிக்கு. ஸோ தட் வே பாண்டவர்கள் they are eternally liberated. At the same time அவங்க வந்து எப்போதுமே இந்த உலகத்தை, இந்த மெட்டீரியல் வேர்ல்டே, இந்த பௌதிக உலகத்திலே அவங்க இருப்பாங்க. அப்படி நாம் புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். இஸ் தட் ஓகே? ஹரே கிருஷ்ணா. Yeah, the Mahabharata war, why it happened? Mahabharata war எதுக்கு நடந்தது? Because கிருஷ்ணரோட அவதாரம் எதுக்கு எடுத்தார்? கிருஷ்ணர் அவதாரம் எதுக்கு எடுத்தார்? Because the mother earth went to Brahmaji and prayed saying that demoniac kings, asuric kings, அசுரர்களெல்லாம் ராஜாக்களோட இது அந்த பொசிஷன் எடுத்து அவங்களெல்லாம் asuric way, they are engaged in increasing their army power and all that. ஸோ அதனால் அந்த மதர் அர்த்தோட அந்த ஒரு அவங்களோட அந்த வேதனையை அதை to address that pain of Mother Earth, the Lord descended. So the whole purpose of Krishna descending was to kill all the demoniac kings. So Krishna, instead of individually killing so many of them, he decided, let me assemble all of them in one place, Kurukshetra, and finish them one shot. So this keeps happening every, in the cycle of the Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. This keeps happening because the nature of this material world is that the demonic forces will keep coming up and Krishna has to take steps to remove it. That is why Krishna says that, what is that verse? Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya dushkritam. Before that, dharma sansthapanarthaya. Before that verse, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya. Whenever adharma rises up, that time I advent myself, Krishna says. So that means from time to time adharma will come up, Krishna will come, he will remove that adharma, re-establish dharma. After some time again adharma will come up. This is the nature of this material world. Because the nature of this material world is everything is temporary, nothing is eternal. So anything you do will get destroyed with time and you will have to keep. That is why everywhere in this world maintenance department is required. Without maintenance department you cannot run. So similarly the Supreme Lord has to have a maintenance plan for this material world. So from time to time he comes to take care of the maintenance. So this happening of the Kurukshetra war will keep happening in every Dwapara Yuga whenever Krishna is descending. So that will keep happening. That has to happen. If you look at it that way, Parashurama also, he killed all the Kshatriya kings 21 times because again they had become demoniac. So even in other yugas also it happens. Parashurama did not come in, Parashurama was there in Satya Yuga. So after that Lord Ramachandra came in Treta Yuga. So Parashurama is there from Satya Yuga. That means even in Satya Yuga, demoniac forces became prominent. And when Lord Ramachandra came and he married Sita Devi, he married Sita Devi in Nepal, in that place called Janakpuri. And he was taking her back to Ayodhya. At that time Parshuram came and stood in front of him. Parshuram is there even before Ramachandra. And then he challenged him that I heard you are supposed to be a powerful Kshatriya. So let me see, I want to fight with you. So Lord Ramachandra fought with him. Finally Parashurama got defeated. Then Parashurama realized Ramachandra is the Supreme Lord himself. So Parashurama, that means Parashurama killing the Kshatriyas 21 times because they had all become demoniac happened in Satya Yuga. So in Satya Yuga also it happened. Treta Yuga, Ramachandra came and he killed Ravana and so many other asuras. So all those asuras that Lord Ramachandra also killed, because they had all become demoniac. And all the demoniac powers were centralized in Ravana at that time. So when Ramachandra killed Ravana, he did not kill only Ravana. He killed so many other people. He killed Kumbhakarna, he killed, what is his name, his son, Meghaduta. So many people had to be killed in that battle of this one between Lord Rama and Lord Ravana. So like this, every yuga, from time to time, the adharmic kings will become prominent. At that time, Krishna will take steps to remove them. So the Kurukshetra war also will keep happening. And ultimately, the Kurukshetra war is also an opportunity for Krishna to speak the Bhagavad Gita for the people of the Kali Yuga. So every day of Brahma, once this Kurukshetra war will happen and Krishna will speak the Bhagavad Gita. That's how we have to understand. If Krishna is not there, some other avatar of Krishna will be there, who will take similar steps to kill the demoniac kings and re-establish dharma. That's how we see even at the end of Kali Yuga, Kalki will have to come and he will kill all the adharmic people, re-establish Satya Yuga. So this keeps happening from time to time. So wherever Krishna is there, Kurukshetra will also be there. So we have to understand that all the Leela Stalis and pastimes of Krishna associated with Krishna are eternal. So Kurukshetra, because Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita there, Kurukshetra is also eternal. And so therefore, that holy place will be there in every earthly planet, in every universe. And every time it's an opportunity for Krishna there to speak the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That is how we understand. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
And the princes finish off their education under Dronacharya, then there is an arena set up for them to display the skills.
Yeah.
So the princes one by one they show what they have learned. And in that arena comes Karna. And then he also wants to show off whatever he has learned. And at that time he is told that you are not born in a Kshatriya family. You cannot, this is for princes.
Yeah.
So especially in Tamil Nadu, this particular instance from Mahabharata is very much highlighted among people. To show that your entire Vedic civilization is all about discriminating people on the basis of birth. So particularly this instance and few other instances connected to Karna, these are the kind of things which is there in the people's mind. People don't know what Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita, what is the tattva and all, people don't know. But these instances are very much have captured the imagination of the people, and they are highlighted repeatedly to attack Varnashrama Dharma.
Well, the very fact that, if we look at the character of Karna, his being denied the admission to that royal assembly was justified. It was justified, no? So their assessment proved right that Karna is not qualified. So what is wrong? The skills of a warrior is not important. Just by possessing the skill of a warrior, one doesn't become a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means, definition is Kshatat Rayate iti Kshatriya. One who protects his citizens is called a Kshatriya. Not one who possesses the skill of archery is called a Kshatriya. No, that's not a Kshatriya. For the sake of protection, he possesses the skill of archery. That's a different thing. For the sake of protection, he possesses. Not that just because I possess the skill of archery, I am a Kshatriya. That is wrong. So, if you look at Karna, what did he do? Kshatat Rayate iti Kshatriya. His duty was to protect. He has to protect what he has to protect? He has to protect the citizens from harm, both mental as well as physical. The citizens' honor, their respect, and their physical well-being has to be protected by the Kshatriya. Now, the Karna, the moment the Pandavas became the servants of the Kauravas, what did he do? Servant means the king or the person who is in the position of the master has to protect them. That is a Vedic understanding. What did he do? He exploited. Karna exploited. He was the one who told Duryodhana, hey, bring this one, Draupadi, let us disrobe her. What kind of Kshatriya is he? What is his quality? Where is he qualified to be a Kshatriya? Totally disqualified there itself, no? And then another quality of Kshatriya is, he will never turn away from a battle. He will never turn away from a battle even if he has to lose his life. How many times Karna ran away from the battlefield? When the Gandharvas attacked Duryodhana, Karna ran away. When Karna was defeated by Bhima in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he ran away. So many times Karna ran away. So where is he a Kshatriya? He is not qualified to be a Kshatriya. Or no?
Personal vengeance he had on Draupadi, because in that Swayamvara Draupadi had rejected him on the basis of that.
So that does not, see, I insult you by calling you some bad name. You can take your revenge against me by calling me some bad name. Right? You don't, just because I called you some bad name, I told, hey, you are low-born. I will strip you naked in the front of everybody, is it? That's the punishment you will give me? That means you don't have a brains to give proper judgment. Punishment has to be given in proportion to the mistake you are doing. Somebody stole bread, you went and hanged him. Is that correct? That means that person has no sense of judgment. Kshatriya is a person who has to have proper sense of judgment. He has to give punishment according to the crime which has been committed. If I have insulted you, you insult me back. No. That much only you can do. Oh, you insulted me. You called me son of a charioteer. Okay, I'll see that I will strip you naked in the assembly. Is that the punishment you give? So, all these things show that Karna was an unqualified person. Although, and another thing what you have to understand is that Karna was actually born in a Kshatriya family. Still he was denied. It's not that Karna was actually a charioteer son, no.
They were not aware at that time. That is
They were not aware, yes. But his activities were also like that. First of all, the very fact that he went and aligned with Duryodhana itself shows that he had lost his qualification to be a Kshatriya. This is the reality. The same with Duryodhana also. Why Krishna removed him from that? Krishna decided that he cannot be the king. Because Duryodhana was unqualified to be a Kshatriya. So, if you look at skill of archery and skill of fighting and all, Duryodhana was also capable. Duryodhana was running the kingdom, administration he was doing. 14 years the Pandavas were not there. He was administering the kingdom, properly running everything. So, that is not the meaning of Kshatriya. Simply because you are able to administer and you are able to, fight well, that doesn't make you a Kshatriya. Kshatriya is much more. That's one thing. Another thing what we have to understand is, in those days, the system of Varnashrama system was running so smoothly that 99% of the time, Kshatriya only will be born in a Kshatriya's family. So, how to understand this? By following two things in the Vedic civilization. That is, one is, each person from a Varna, he marries only within that Varna. And number two, all the Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya, they follow the process of Garbhadana Samskara. These two things, by that what would happen? Brahmana would be born in a Brahmana family, Kshatriya would be born in a Kshatriya family. Vaishya would be born in a Vaishya family. This used to be standard. You look at the case of Kashyapa Muni and Diti. In the case of Kashyapa Muni and Diti, although he was a Brahmana and his wife was also qualified, but what happened? They had intercourse without undergoing Garbhadana Samskara and at the wrong time. What was the result? Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So, as long as Garbhadana Samskara was performed, was followed, and the process of marrying within the Varna was followed, 99% of the time, the Brahmana would be born in Brahmana family, Kshatriya would be born in Kshatriya family, Vaishya would be born in Vaishya family. So, people at that time would go by this. Okay, he is born in a Brahmana family, he is a Brahmana. Until, just like modern day they say, no, innocent until proved guilty. Like that they will assume he is born in a Brahmana family. Until he disproves himself, he is considered a Brahmana. If he does something by which we come to know this is against the Brahminical principle, then immediately he is fallen. Like you see Shukracharya, he is a Brahmana, he is a Guru. So, until he was giving proper instructions to Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj is considered him a Guru. The moment Shukracharya gave an instruction, don't surrender to Vishnu, immediately Bali Maharaj said, now you are fallen, I will not follow you. So, this was the principle followed in the Vedic times. You are considered a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya based on your birth until and unless you disprove yourself by some disqualificatory action. In Kali Yuga, what happens is, by birth itself you are disqualified. You have to consider that you are fallen and you have to prove yourself to be a Kshatriya, Vaishya or a Brahmana. It's the other way around. That is why in Shastras it is said, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, you are disqualified, now you prove that you are qualified. In the Vedic times, it was the other way around. You are taken to be qualified unless you do some activity which disproves that you are qualified. Just like Lord Balarama, when he went to Romaharshana Sutta in that assembly, he was elevated to the status of a Brahmana. But then when his activity showed that he is fallen, finished. He did not give respect to to Balaramaji. So immediately he is fallen. He has not understood the Vedas, all his study, all his Brahminical qualification, everything is finished. So all these examples are also there in the Shastras. So we have to understand from that perspective. Over and above that, what we have to understand is why Draupadi told Karna not to participate in that, saying that he is a charioteer's son? Because Draupadi knew Karna is not a good character. See, because those days what would happen was, various rishis and sages would spread the message. This, this happened with this king, this happened with this king, he has this quality, that quality. They will go and spread the information. And like that, Draupadi had heard about Arjuna. So, she had heard about his wonderful qualities and her mind was attracted to him. She had also heard about Karna, she was not attracted to him. Now, her father, because the Pandavas at that time, it was rumored that they were killed in the house of Shellak, the fire in the house of Shellak in Varanavata. So her father Drupada said, okay, let me create a ceremony where if the Pandavas are alive, we'll be able to figure out. So he created that Swayamvara ceremony. Now in that, when Draupadi saw that Karna may be able to win that contest, and in that case, she will have to marry him. She is not interested in marrying him. She wanted some excuse that he should not participate. So the only thing she could think of at that moment, see, it is all momentary. At that moment, what could she do? The only thing she could think of was, let us disqualify him on the basis of this one. So she said, I am not interested in marrying some charioteer. I want to marry some king, some prince. So she did not say, I am not interested in marrying some Shudra. She did not say that. She said, I don't want to marry some charioteer's son. Like, suppose somebody brings an alliance to a girl today. Okay? They are not talking about caste. Now they ask, what is the job of this man? They say, he's a bus driver. Girl says, I am not interested in marrying some bus driver. I want to marry the owner of a transport company. So she rejects. Now can you say that, oh, she's rejecting him on the basis of caste? You cannot say that. So same way, Draupadi, she somehow wanted to, she said, I am a king's daughter. I don't want to marry some charioteer's son. So, disqualify him. So, everybody in the assembly, nobody in the assembly at that time spoke against her, because ultimately it is the girl Swayamvara. So, everybody respected her opinion, her freedom of choice. She has the choice to decide who can participate, who cannot participate. So, she said, everybody kept quiet. Nobody spoke against it. The same Karna, and when he went and participated in that Swayamvara of the other girl, who was that Lakshmana. When he went and participated, there nobody prevented him. He went and participated and he failed. He lost. Arjuna also participated. He also lost. So there, why did they not stop? Only in the Swayamvara of Draupadi, why he was stopped? See, if he stopped on the basis of caste, then Lakshmana's also he cannot attend. No. Why he was allowed to participate in that contest of the fish circulating and looking at that reflection? Same kind of contest was organized by Lakshmana's father also. But there he was allowed to participate. So what does that mean? That means it was not an established thing in the society that just by the birth your caste is determined. If that were the case, there also it should not have been allowed. But there he was allowed. Arjuna also participated. Arjuna also could not do it. Karna's arrow missed the fish by a few millimeters. Arjuna's grazed the fish and went away. But still Arjuna also lost technically, because the arrow has to pierce the fish. Then only the contest is won. Then that means Arjuna was better than Karna. At least that much we can understand. But Arjuna was the topmost archer. There was nobody better than him. Now, what to do? Then Krishna came. And what did Krishna do? Very easily picked up, looked just once into the water, tuck, went and pierced the fish and split it into two pieces. So Krishna showed how he is the supreme, personality of Godhead. Nobody can match him. So the point is that even in that Swayamvara also, Karna went and participated, no? So how can you say that it is on the basis of birth? It is definitely not on the basis of birth. If it was on the basis of birth, there is no meaning to saying that Kshatriya should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualities. If you look at Manu Samhita and everywhere, it says, Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, what are the qualities of a Kshatriya? If it is simply by birth, why do you speak of quality? He is already born in a Kshatriya family. So by that he is, he is a Kshatriya. Why do you speak of quality? Yuddhe chapalayanam, he should never flee from the battlefield, he should protect his citizens, he should have that Ishvara Bhava. Why all these things are given? So this is also there, that is also there. That we have to understand. The only way to understand that is the Varnashrama system was designed in such a way that the facilities were given for a Brahmana to take birth in a Brahmana family, Kshatriya to take birth in a Kshatriya family, Vaishya to take birth in a Vaishya family, through the process of marrying within the Varna, avoiding intercaste marriages, although it's not forbidden. So why they are saying intercaste marriages should be avoided? Because if you do intercaste marriage, then Brahmana taking birth in a Brahmana family is not guaranteed. So if you want a guaranteed thing, marry within the Varna and follow Garbhadana Samskara. Simple. So a scientific system was in place. It's on that basis that one could say that, okay, with confidence that Brahmana's son means he must be a Brahmana. Otherwise, look at Jabali Upanishad. Satyakama Jabali, what was he? He was the son of a prostitute. Son of prostitute means he is less than Shudra. But Gautama Rishi accepted him as a Brahmana. We have example of Vishwamitra Muni. Earlier he was a Kshatriya. Same life, he gave up his kingdom and took up sannyas and became a Brahmana. So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is based on guna and karma. So, when Vishwamitra Muni, he changed his karma, he changed his activities from that of a ruler to that of a hermit, automatically, immediately he came to be known as Brahmana. Everybody accepted. So, we have to see all these things in totality. We cannot take one incident in isolation and then say, it's like this. So, those days, people could easily judge other people also. So, when Dronacharya also saw Karna, he also understood he is not a qualified man. That's how Dronacharya, when he saw Ekalavya also, he understood he is not a qualified person. He will not use this knowledge of archery for protection. He will misuse it. And that is exactly what happened with Ekalavya, exactly what happened with Karna also. Karna became Duryodhana's friend and he became a prince and misused that power. That means he got power. Earlier he did not have a power. As long as he was a charioteer's son, he did not have power. The moment he was made the king of Anga, he got royal power. So that power was supposed to use to protect. What did he do? He misused it to mistreat the Pandavas and to dishonor them and to do. So basically he was trying to feed his old grudges. That is not what a Kshatriya is supposed to do. You contrast the quality of the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj and Karna and Duryodhana. Karna, what he wanted to do, the Draupadi insulted me, so I must, she called me charioteer's son, so I must take revenge against her. This was his thinking. Now, Duryodhana and his people, what they did, they tried to disrobe Draupadi in that assembly. They insulted the Pandavas in so many ways. Still, when the Gandharvas captured Duryodhana and the Duryodhana's people went and asked the Pandavas for protection, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, yes, we will protect Duryodhana. And they defeated the Gandharvas and released Duryodhana. So, you see this one, that Yudhishthira Maharaj is demonstrating the real quality of a Kshatriya. Somebody comes to him for protection, no matter what his past, what he has done to him and all that, he will not consider. He has come to me for protection, I will protect. Whereas Duryodhana and Karna, somebody is now their subordinate. The Pandavas and Draupadi have become their subordinate. Instead of protecting them, what they are doing? Disrobing Draupadi, that too in the assembly in front of everyone. Is that what a Kshatriya is supposed to use his power for? That itself has disqualified them. So you can see, Dronacharya knew this, Bhishma knew this, that Karna is of this character. That's why they always discouraged him. That is why always Dronacharya and Bhishma and Vidura discouraged even Duryodhana also. In fact, Vidura told Dhritarashtra, you reject this Duryodhana and throw him out. If you keep him here, the whole dynasty will be finished. Openly he told. Why? Because they knew his character is not good. They knew Karna's character is not good. So many, it's a complicated thing here. It's not, you cannot simplify it by saying, this happened, therefore this. So many dynamics are involved, so many, you have to understand the culture of that time, the people, their abilities. The people's ability to assess others was so high, much higher than it's today. So all these things we have to see. Ekalavya also you see. Ekalavya, they say because of he was scheduled caste, therefore they did not allow him That's not true, no. Because you see, Dronacharya assessed him. He realized that this man, he will misuse the knowledge, so he refused to teach him. And later, when the Pandavas saw how he had, put all those arrows into the mouth of the dog, that showed that Ekalavya is disqualified, he is unqualified he will misuse the knowledge. He misused the knowledge, no. See, dog is a minor animal. It is a domestic animal and it requires the human being's protection. Praja means in Sanskrit, any living entity who is born in one's kingdom is a praja. So therefore, all animals, plants, birds, everybody has equal right to protection from the king. This is the Vedic civilization. So the dog is a domestic animal. It's not some tiger or something coming and attacking you and all that. So dog also is given protection in the Vedic society. But of course, dog is not taken into the house. Cow is kept in the house, dog is kept outside the house. In today's world, cow is kept outside, dog is brought inside. If you keep the cow in the house, it's so healthy. If you keep the dog in the house, all diseases will come. But still, in Kali Yuga, it's all topsy-turvy. But anyway, so this dog, after all, what was it doing? It was barking and it was creating some nuisance. So even now, if some dog comes in our, the other day when I was walking from home here for Mangalarti, one dog came barking at me. So what did I do? Did I, search for some AK-47 rifle and start shooting? If I do that, what will happen? Police will come and arrest me and take me to the police. Why are you shooting AK-47 at a dog? So all that I had to do was, I turned around at the dog and motioned as if I am picking up a stone. There was no stone there. It was a plain concrete road. I did like this. The dog ran away. Over, no. That was all Ekalavya had to do. He did not even have to throw a stone. Just imitate as if he is throwing, the dog would have run away. Instead, what he does, today's AK-47 he used, full arrows pumping into the dog's mouth. For what, yaar? What are you doing? That itself shows that he does not know how to put that knowledge of archery, which is a very great science, he does not know how to put it to good use. And if he misuses that knowledge, the blame will go to whom? To Dronacharya. He is your disciple. You only taught him, see? So that is why Dronacharya said, if he continues, he is going around telling he is my disciple. He is not my disciple, first of all. Now, if he goes and misuses this knowledge, people will blame me. So he said, cut off your thumb. I don't want you doing any more wrong things like this. So you see, these are all the considerations. But people misinterpret it and they, according to their convenience, they give some understanding to it and twist things around. So we have to look at things in a more holistic perspective and understand the culture, the people's thinking, the value systems. Those were all totally different at that time. So we try to understand everything of that time with today's value systems and culture, which is not correct. That is why we end up making mistakes. I'll stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.